Next up, we have Deborah Mann. Deborah Mann has published poems in the Mid-America Poetry Review, Coal City Review, the Kansas City Star, and Orange County Register. Her book of poems, Beyond the Shaded Sanctuary, includes those pieces inspired by her growing up in the small town of Stover, which is nearest to her heart. Deborah lives in Sedalia with her husband, Bill. They have 2 grown daughters, and she is Meemaw or Meemaw? What is the Meemaw? Right? Okay. Meemaw. She is Meemaw to them, to her 4.5-year-old grandson Max. Rather, she works part-time at the Sedalia Fruit Clinic. So Deborah Mann.
When I was asked to read, I had no idea exactly, how the format was going to be or anything. It was a big turnout, so thank you. And what to expect from me? I write free verse, very short free verse. My poetry is more inspired by a moment, just like a snapshot in time. And looking through my selections, as much as I hate summer and I hate to perspire, my pieces that are nearest to me are summer and heat inspired. So we had a cool off today, so everything I'm going to read is going to be summer related. And found that I could read not only poetry, so there will be one short personal essay in there. From the title poem, The Front Porch. On the front porch, the men folks sit in chairs stolen from Sunday's table, take smokes from pockets of white shirts stained with other summer Sundays or funerals which came before, tap brown velvet from cloth pouches held open by one red string into papers cupped in callous fingers, spit mahogany streams of red oak twist into empty cans, or out beyond the shaded sanctuary into the unmown buckhorns. Gatherers. They gather last remains from the garden along the south side of the house. Parched corn, tomatoes, potatoes slowly dying in the sun-baked graves. There's no breeze. Only the gatherers and grasshoppers move through the garden along the south side of the house. Holy ground. Every day in the heat of summer, Uncle Emil came in from the fields. In overalls, farmer's cap, wiped his sunburnt face with the handkerchief he kept in his back pocket, stood on the patch of linoleum worn bare beneath his feet in front of the refrigerator, went straight for the jar with the oranges painted on the side, and drank deep its cool water. Porch swing. 20 toes in flip-flops. Push off against the cement floor, launches higher, higher. A voice from inside brings us back to earth. The only telltale sign we once knew how to fly, the imprints of wooden slats on bare legs. Staying for supper. Again, it's summer, hot and humid. It's even hotter in Reenie's kitchen. The small metal kitchen table is tightly positioned into the corner by the window, the only air except for the kitchen door off the back porch and the floor fan. My best friend and I have begged again to stay for supper. There will be roast dinners, sweet and juicy from her garden and dripping in butter. There will be red or sometimes the yellow variety tomatoes, and there will be Reenie's husband, Charlie. I am afraid of Charlie and try not to have to sit in the chair next to his. He is gray. Gray hair, wiry like a crew cut gone bad, gray overalls. He needs a shave and some teeth. I don't know what Charlie does for a living. I know Reenie works hard. She takes in other people's laundry. On the back porch is her Ringer washing machine. Clothesline run the length of her backyard, and after supper she will set up the ironing board in the front room. She will iron the shirts and linens, steam rising from the damp cloth. short essay, A Summer Afternoon as I Remember It. My best friends and I have exhausted the indoor possibilities for a summer afternoon's entertainment. We have been through her mom's closet and tried on all her high heels. We have played her older brother's 45s, Rockin' Robin, Honeycomb, Little Red Riding Hood, and performed several encores of Chopsticks, dutifully stopping for her mom's suggestion, "Cindy, pick up these shoes." Figuring the timing to be good about now for a little separation, I lean over to my friend, "Think your mom would let us go to the mill?" There are two routes of access to her family's milling and feed store. We can ride our bikes up Walnut Street, turn right at the Lutheran Church on 2nd, and then right again on Maple, or brave the more direct and challenging line of travel, by foot, via the railroad tracks. We decide to walk. Today is too sweltering to hunch over the polished rails and place pennies along the tracks for the next rock island to flatten into useless yet intriguing blobs of copper. Instead, we tightrope along the hot, slippery tracks, our sweaty feet sliding off our red flip-flops, the rubber thongs jabbing between our toes. The journey becomes serious when we get to the steps. Here we have to be quick but also careful. Quick because the steps leading off from the north side of the tracks are up a steep hill and positioned next to the grain elevators. The grain dropped from the large farm trucks bringing in their harvest is an inviting feast for rodents. We maneuver as quickly as possible, but also careful of our footing on the uneven, crumbling concrete steps. Weeds, a natural habitat for pouncing grasshoppers and other insects, loom over the stairway from both sides. We stop at the top of the stairs and give each other the "I wasn't scared, was you? Look." Here we make a wide detour around the two trucks lining up to be weighed at the scales. If there's one thing I am more afraid of than a possible rodent encounter, it is the abyss that devours the grain emptied from the backs of the trucks. Once inside the store part of the mill, we wait while customers in bibbed overalls stand in line at the chest-high counter. "Need 5 bags of laying mash here," one tells one of Cindy's brothers who is working the register. The farmer pays his tab and takes the paid ticket out to the red double dock doors, and the worker ready to stack the 100 pounds of bags onto a dollar and out to their waiting truck. When the counter is free of waiting customers, Cindy goes up to her dad in the back office and asks for money for the pop machine. Lifting the heavy gray lid of the chest-style cooler, we loiter in the refreshing cool that meets our faces. "What kind you getting?" I ask. Grapes, oranges, strawberries, colas are all in line, cold and sweating in their racks. The bottles wait for us to take one by the neck and guide it through the narrow channels until it is positioned into the wider opening where it will be released. I drop my nickel into the coin slot, put a death grip on the neck of a strawberry pop, and slide it along until it comes up with a clank. Cindy picks out a knee-high grape and flips off its cap with the opener on the front of the cooler. We take our pop along with a selection from the candy display back to the office. We scrunch together in the wooden swivel chair. Cindy opens up her bag of sugar babies. I peel back the cellophane from the small white cardboard tray of pretzel sticks. Trade you 5 pretzels for 2 sugar babies. When we tire our playing on the adding machine and our sodas are empty, we take our bottles back to the front, stacking them in the wooden crates beside the pop machine. The front door opens. A farmer comes in, removes his straw hat, and wipes his red face with a handkerchief. "Hot enough for you, Ed?" he asks Cindy's dad. We go back out into the bright sunlight, stopping briefly at the dock doors. I am relieved when there is no sign of August, the worker who is always offering my dad a great deal, me for a used lawnmower. Inside, feeds and grains are stacked several sacks high in the dusty, sweet dimness. We turn and start down the sidewalk, back toward the steps and the railroad tracks. There is no air moving. I wish now we had brought our bikes. Two more poems. Pheromones on Highway 52. They gather at the dairy bar in Casey's lot across the street. They rev their trucks, flex tan muscles on dusty fenders, wait for ripe denim-skinned girls eager to hang on Necks sunburned red above their white tees. In with a little breeze in the heat. Gently swaying in the breeze. Unless you count the farmer down beyond the blue gate, mowing lazy circles around the pond, or the red-throated hummingbird suspended at the front porch feeder, we are alone in the white robe hammock, you asleep, me perfectly still, except for one foot brushing the ground.